Hello, my name is Emma, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys some mystery thriller books that are on my TBR. So I have a huge stack of mystery thriller, YA, and adult novels that I am extremely excited to delve into in the coming months. This is definitely a shortened list. I have so many just on my general TBR that I do want to get to in the future, but these are the few that I'm hoping to get to within the next few months or so. I do want to let you guys know that this video is being made as a part of a paid promotion with Disney-Hyperion for the release of Follow Me, the sequel to The Amateurs by Sarah Shepard. Follow Me came out this past November 7th, and the Amateur series is one that has been on my TBR since before the first Amateurs book came out. So the Amateur series follows a girl named Seneca who is an active member of the Case Not Closed website, which is a true crime site dedicated to unsolved crimes. So 5 years ago, this girl named Helena had disappeared without a trace, and this is actually the case that got Seneca interested in true crime. So after a recent post has come up on the Case Not Closed website, Seneca travels to Connecticut with one of her friends from the site in order to investigate and hopefully find out the truth about this mystery. So The Amateurs and Follow Me are two separate books about the same group of people investigating different mysteries where there are certain things that go wrong in their investigation and there might be a killer watching close by. The first time I talked about the Amateur series, I heard really great reviews, and it definitely sounds like a YA thriller I'm going to be very interested in. I'm a huge lover of true crime and forensic psychology, which is why thrillers are such an interesting genre to me, and I think the Amateur series is definitely going to be one that really kickstarts my interest in YA thrillers as well. So thank you so much to Disney-Hyperion for sending these books to me. So I figure I'll start with the YA thrillers and then delve into the adult thrillers as well, but the next YA mystery thriller, you could say, that I'm really interested in reading is Hunting Prince Dracula by Carrie Maniscalco. So the first book in the series, Stalking Jack the Ripper, follows a girl named Audrey who is living in England at the time where Jack the Ripper is terrorizing London. And so as her uncle's apprentice, she ends up going out and stalking Jack the Ripper in order to find out who he is. And so after the events of stalking Jack the Ripper, Audrey ends up going to Europe to attend this really prestigious forensic school as the only female student there. And at the time that Audrey is attending the school in Romania, there are rumors that the string of murders that have been going around are a result of the return of Vlad the Impaler, whom we know as Dracula. Now, I personally wasn't the biggest fan of Stalking Jack the Ripper. It was definitely one of those books where I liked the concept so much better than the execution, but I am super enthralled with this story and where it goes from here that I have to continue with the sequel. I am really excited for book 2. I do think I'm going to enjoy it more than book 1, or at least I hope. So it's definitely on my TBR, and I've been hearing rave reviews. So I'm super excited to hopefully read this one in the next few months. The next two YA thrillers I don't actually own, but I am really excited to. The first being Far From You by Tess Sharp. I have been so excited for this book because it is just seriously up my alley in regards to what I love to read. It is all about this girl named Sophie who is a recovering drug addict when unfortunately her best friend dies, and while everyone is saying that it has to do with a drug deal gone bad, Sophie knows the truth that Mina, her best friend, was murdered. So while Sophie is recovering for her drug addiction, in addition to experiencing chronic pain, she goes after Mina's killer in order to avenge her best friend's death. With all of those super interesting topics, it's also wonderful because Sophie is bisexual, and we definitely do not get enough diversity in regards to mystery thrillers. So just like everything about this book sounds amazing to me. I have heard such great reviews, and I'm absolutely confident that I'm going to love it. Far From You is absolutely on the very tippy top of my YA thrillers TBR, just because it seems so perfectly fit for me as a reader, and I think I'm really going to enjoy it. And so the next YA mystery thriller that I'm interested in reading is Last Seen Leaving by Caleb Rowing. This is another one that has been on my TBR for so long, and I'm just so glad that I'm in more of a mood for mystery thrillers. I think it has a lot to do with the weather and just the time of year, because November-ish is when I discovered mystery thrillers last year, so I think it's just come in full circle. But Last Seen Leaving is absolutely on my TBR. So the synopsis of the story is not very descriptive, and I find that to be a common theme among mystery thrillers, probably for very obvious reasons. But Last Seen Leaving is all about this boy named Flynn, whose girlfriend named January has recently gone missing. Flynn has no idea where January is. He just really wants to know what is going going on and what happened to her. The cops aren't being very helpful. People are targeting him. Her friends are telling stories that potentially lead to the fact that Flynn might have had something to do with it. But all along this, Flynn is harboring his own deep dark secret that might just come out. Okay, no pun intended with the end of the sentence, but I do know that this is another diverse thriller, as it does deal with a relationship between two boys, one of whom I'm assuming is Flynn. So I have no idea how that comes about. I have no idea what happened to January, but I'm really excited to find out. I hear that this is just like such a great YA mystery, which can sometimes be very hard to find, so it's absolutely on my TBR. So we're moving into adult thrillers now, and I think the next two on this list are to be expected of somebody who is still just starting to dabble with the mystery thriller genre, but I definitely need to catch up on the rest of Gillian Flynn's books, which are Sharp Objects and Dark Places. One of the first mystery thrillers I read was Gone Girl, and I loved it so much. Almost nothing has compared. It is just so freaking good. But I know my sister is a huge Gillian Flynn fan, and she is also just a huge fan of thrillers in general, so I get a lot of good recommendations from her, and I absolutely want to continue with her works. Sharp Objects is all about a reporter named Camille who has recently exited her stay at a psychiatric hospital when she has to go cover a story of the disappearance, I believe it is, no, the murders of two preteen girls, and she has to return to her hometown with her mother, her family, and all these people that she doesn't get along with, that she hasn't seen in a very long time. It obviously trugs up some deep dark memories, and I'm sure there's some connection to Camille and these murders, as we don't know yet. And Dark Places is about a woman named Libby who is the survivor of the murders of her mother and sisters, and she has testified against her brother as the killer. So years later, this society called the Kill Club is contacting Libby in the hopes of getting more information to free Ben, but Libby is going to make it at a price that is hard to pay. So it is all about Libby returning to her hometown, going back to where this traumatic experience happened, and it says at the end of the synopsis that she is right back where she started, on the run from the killer. So both of these books just sound so amazing, and I have the utmost hope in them that they are going to be wonderful, like Gone Girl, which I loved so much. I'm a big fan of Gillian Flynn just from Gone Girl. I know I will love her other works as well, and I just can't wait to dive into them again. The next adult mystery thriller on my TBR is The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter, and this is absolutely one of my very next to-read books. I guarantee you, you're gonna see it on a wrap-up very soon on my channel. The Good Daughter is all about a woman named Charlotte who many years ago, there was a violent attack on her home where her mother was murdered. So years into the future, when Charlie has moved on, she's become a lawyer, there ends up being more disastrous murders and attacks in her hometown. So she has to travel back, and she finds a connection between what happened to her mother and what is happening now. This book was actually recommended to me from Brandon the Book Addict. We were in San Francisco, we were doing some book shopping, and I had mentioned that I was looking for more thrillers to read, and as Brandon is someone whose thriller recommendations I absolutely respect, he was like shoving this one down my throat, saying I needed to read it. So I'm pretty convinced, and I think I'm really going to enjoy it. The next book on my mystery thriller TBR is The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. Now, I had bought this book about a year ago when I was like just delving into thrillers, when I had bought Gone Girl and the rest of Gillian Flynn's books, and also The Girl on the Train. But I haven't read it until I'm hoping to now. So this book is all about a journalist named Lo who wins a luxury vacation on a cruise for a week, and as the week starts out, she's really enjoying it, things are going really well, when one night she hears the sound of a passenger being thrown overboard when the rest of the crew and passengers are all accounted for. So there is clearly some mystery or conspiracy going around on this cruise ship, and Lo is determined to investigate as to what is really going on. I definitely have heard some mixed reviews for this one. A lot of people say it's not as interesting as it sounds, or they weren't a huge fan of it. But what I have learned from like starting to delve into the genre of mystery thrillers is, for me personally, I come to take really well to the super hyped thrillers that are probably very predictable to other people who read a ton of thrillers and have seen the same story a million times. But as someone who is like just getting into it, I take to the super hyped ones really well. And and this is definitely one that was super hyped a few months ago or years ago, whenever it came out. So I think I am going to really enjoy it, and I'm very hopeful that one of my reviews will be more of the positive ones. And so the final book on my mystery thriller TBR is Final Girls by Riley Sager, which is one that I have heard so many good things about. So 10 years ago, our main character named Quincy was the sole survivor of a massacre that happened while she was on vacation with a couple of her college friends. And as a result of being the sole survivor, she has kind of been unwillingly accepted into this group known as the Final Girls, meaning the one survivor of mass stabbings or attacks or whatnot of people who survived very dangerous moments. So as Quincy seems to be doing well for herself, she's kind of repressed the trauma that she experienced that night, but she is starting to rebuild her life when one of the other final girls is found murdered, and the other one comes to Quincy's house and forces her to relive all of this because it seems like the final girls may be the ones being targeted by this killer. Again, it sounds so amazing. Like, all of these books sound fantastic, and I've heard really great reviews of most of them. My sister also read Final Girls and she really enjoyed it, and I definitely think it's going to be a book that I'm really going to love. So this really concludes my current tentative thriller TBR. Like I said, there's so many other thrillers out there that I am so excited to read, but these are the ones I'm hoping to get to very, very soon. Thank you again to Disney-Hyperion for working with me for this video, and don't forget to pick up Follow Me, the second book in the Amateur series by Sarah Shepard, as it is now in stores. But definitely let me know in the comments below, are you interested in thrillers? I'd kind of hope so if you just sat through this whole video. If you have any great thriller recommendations, are there any out there that you're really looking to read? I would love to know. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon for a new one. Bye!